Episode 107. Who kidnapped her? Mr. Foster, don't you want me? Jade raised her sad almond eyes. Her pitiful eyes made Dario's heart ache. It made him want to give her the whole world. Yes. Dario pinched her delicate chin and couldn't help kissing her hot lips. As his lips touched hers, Jade couldn't wait to entangle her tongue with his. Mr. Foster, as long as it's what you want, I'm willing to give it to you, Jade said vaguely. It was as if she wanted to throw everything away and kiss him deeply. Dario thought that Jade was babbling nonsense because of the effects of the drug, but what she said came from her heart. She would rather give herself to Dario, who brought her warmth, than to a scumbag like Bruce. They kissed very intensely, and Jade was even more passionate than Dario. She was like a ball of fire, and her eyes were full of charm. Every inch of her skin was full of temptations. She even took the initiative to reach under and touch him. Although her movements were very clumsy, Dario reacted quickly. Just when Dario was about to lose control of himself, he suddenly grabbed the cold towel and applied it to his forehead. He hurriedly pushed her body away. Damn it! Why isn't Tony here yet? Does he want to die? Dario rushed out as fast as he could. He couldn't stay in the same room with Jade like this. Fortunately, the doctor was there in the next second. If he had taken any longer, he wouldn't have seen the sun the next day. In the end, Tony gave Jade an injection to resist the effects of the drug, as well as some medicine to help her feel better. Slowly, the effects of the drug dissipated. She was so exhausted that she couldn't stay awake anymore, so she closed her eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Outside the entertainment city, how could David Swan, who had wanted to join in the fun, miss out? Unfortunately, he came too late. Jade had already been taken away by Dario, and the rest of the people had been crippled by Lucas. What are you doing here? Lucas looked at him indifferently. I'm here to help you. Do you think I need it? David Swan looked at the people on the ground behind him and pulled off Tom's clothes, leaving only his underpants. It wasn't that David wanted to protect his reputation. The fat on his body was so disgusting that David couldn't bear to take his underwear off. Damn, fatty, I think you've had enough of living. Don't you know whose woman she is? How dare you take advantage of her? Although David didn't have much fighting strength, he had the backing of Lucas, so he could scare people. He slapped Tom's fat body while questioning him. David was very happy. You are Mr. Swan? Tom looked at the man and thought he was the owner of the bar. His heart trembled because although the man in front of him looked like the owner of the bar, he was actually one of the young leaders from one of the 4 big families in Washington. It was said that opening a bar was only a hobby of his. Tom couldn't afford to offend such an important person. Actually, he had angered so many people that he couldn't afford to offend anyone anymore. He felt that he was going to die. Don't talk nonsense with me. I'm asking you a question. What were you trying to do by capturing Jade? Speak. David continued to pat the man's fat body, but then he felt disgusted and switched to patting his head. In the end, he found that the round, bald head was even more disgusting. Mr. Swan, it really wasn't me. What happened here has nothing to do with me, and I didn't know who she was. If I had known, no matter how brave I am, I wouldn't have dared to touch her. It's that kid. It was Tyler Winslet who caught her. He said he wanted to show his piety towards me. Tom immediately pointed at Tyler Winslet. But David wasn't fooled by him. Instead of believing him, he kicked his fat face. Stop pretending. Last time you were chased out of my bar, don't you know, Miss Winslet? Even if you didn't know at the beginning, you must have known later. Tell me the truth. As he spoke, he took out an exquisite knife, as if he was going to cut his flesh. Lucas looked at him indifferently, his face full of disdain. I didn't expect you to have such a hobby. Shut up. Mr. Foster knows that you can only fight and not talk, so he specially asked me, an expert, to come over. He fiddled with his hair at the corner of his forehead and pressed the knife against Tom's face. Really? Mr. Swan, I didn't know. After I recognized Miss Winslet, I planned to let her go, but I didn't expect that Mr. Stevens would also want to join in. It was Mr. Stevens who took a fancy to that woman. Mr. Stevens was the one who treated her that way. Tom put all the blame on Bruce. You mean Bruce Stevens from the Stevens Group? David asked coldly as he narrowed his eyes. Yes, it was him. Tom nodded his head desperately. David didn't believe what the old man said, but he had a general idea of what had happened. He went up to Tyler Winslet and looked at him in disbelief. Did you tie Miss Winslet up to give her that dam? So what? It's none of your business. I lack money to spend. So I gave that woman away. Anyway, that woman is cheap. Any man can have her, Tyler said with disdain. He didn't know what had happened recently. His parents suddenly stopped giving him money, which made him seek other sources of money. He knew that Tom liked to flirt with women, and he thought of the time when Jade humiliated him. He went and tied her up directly. Why are you talking like this? You are Miss Winslet's cousin. How sad. David slapped him so hard that he saw stars. Tyler wanted to fight back, but when he saw Lucas's terrifying eyes, he didn't dare to move. Hit me again if you have the guts. Tyler stared at them angrily. Do you want me to hit you again? Let me tell you, beating you up is no big deal. You have offended, Mr. Foster. Do you think you'll have a happy life from now on? You are so pitiful. I can already imagine what your next life will be like. I advise you to prepare your coffin well. David spat twice and looked at them with pity. Despite his playful words, his eyes were especially serious and fierce. What he said made Tom and Tyler feel their hearts go cold, as if something bad were about to happen. What nonsense are you talking to them about? Suddenly, Lucas kicked Tyler hard, as if he hadn't been hit enough. Tyler's body flew through the air. When he landed on the ground, he screamed and then fainted. David had never seen him in such rough shape. Maybe it was because he heard what Tyler said and knew that Jade would come here. He wanted to vent his anger for her. Wow, this is too cruel. I'm so scared. David hid at the side and pretended to be frightened. Tom was terrified to the point of breaking out in a cold sweat. He knelt down and didn't dare to move. They soon heard the siren of a police car. The first police officers who came in were just there to check on things, but these officers came to arrest people.